to give it to you. Oh, we're recording now. Got it. Yes, absolutely. So we have simple and complex reflections, and Nicole mentioned all of them very well. What is a double-sided reflection? What is that? What's a good example of those?
On one side, you're feeling this, and on the other side, you're wanting to do that.
Exactly, right? So we're talking about conflicts and conflicts of value or value conflicts, right? Values and value conflicts. So I value being healthy, but I also, on the other hand, really like my donuts, right? So we mentioned those, okay? Perspectives. Tell me a little bit about perspectives and why that was important to talk about. We all got them.
I guess because we come from different backgrounds and lived experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll talk more about biases in another week or so, and we'll get to dive into that. But exactly, right? So we can be looking through the same stained glass window. Woo, gosh, words are hard every time I get in this class, and I don't know why. We can be looking through the same stained glass window and both see something completely different when we're looking through, right? Just depends on our perspectives in life, what we've been through, maybe what we're going through now. What is power of the pause?
Being able to like sit in the silence and allow for the person that you're coaching to like reflect and think and give them a chance to process and speak and not speak over them.
Exactly right. It's given that little pause at the end of a question, or even when they finish talking, to see if they want to continue to build on that idea. Sometimes we jump in there and want to reflect, or jump in there and want to ask the next question. And if we just paused for a minute, they may have extended on that thought. And we hit value conflict with our reflections. Cool. And this is a picture of a cow, just because. Now we've talked about the characteristics of a coach, right? So we want to make sure we remind you of this. So qualities of a coach, I want you to look through there and at least maybe pick out 3 that you think you really have when it comes to the qualities of a coach. Kind of reflect on that and think about what you do well. Same thing with coaching skills. Look through those. What are things you do well, and what do you see in there that you may want to start to improve on and work on as we move through these stages? See if you can identify any. And then strategies. We want you to continue to get familiar with these. You'll probably see this slide in just about every stage as we move through these, because we want you to continue to build on these, right? So as a coach, you are a change agent. You're the collaborator, you're the partner. You're not leading this. You're not putting ideas into their head. You're not a therapist for them. You're sitting back and you're along for the ride, right? And we definitely make sure that our coaching sessions are strength-based. We make sure that they are present focused. We're not looking at the future or the past. We want to talk about right now. Or sorry, we do talk about the future because we got to set goals, sorry. And then whole person centered, right? And we'll talk about tonight potentially storytelling and talking about your story in coaching. It's okay to do, but there's a way to do it in coaching, and keep it as a client-centered, focused session. Okay, because you never want to pull it into, hey, look at me, let's talk about me, when you're coaching somebody. Okay, so we are there to inspire, motivate, and empower. So just keep looking at this list and make sure that we are hitting on the things that you want to focus on and that you want to continue to grow on. Okay, so let's talk about elicit, provide, elicit. This is one of the strategies for barriers that may come up when you're coaching. Elicit, provide, elicit can be useful when the client is stuck. It can be useful when they need more information, they need some resources or advice. Maybe they're coming to you and they just don't really know where to go when it comes to something that they're talking about. I don't know. Could be they don't know where to find the information. Be all kinds of things. It's appropriate when the coach notices the client has misinformation or may benefit from a certain resource. So if you're noticing that your patient says, well, my neighbor has decided that she has a PhD, even though she drew it with a crayon, and she said sugar is great for me and I should be eating 3 spoonfuls every meal, whatever, right? And you notice that that information is a little off. It may be a good time to provide illicit. If you notice that it could be something that's not quite right. So here we're offering information, maybe even resources. That's why it's really good to stay up on your resources and your research and your readings as a coach so that you know what to put out there for people and help them to find information on their own. But we want to make sure that we are giving advice very sparingly. As a coach, we want them to lead themselves to the answers for the most part. But if we need to step in, sometimes that's okay. So before we use the EPE, remember the coaching basics, right? So keep it client-centered. And first, we want to ask the client how they might obtain the information on their own. If we can refer them to getting the information on their own without us having to give them the information, there seems to be some benefits because they are driven to do that. They're the ones getting that information. They're the ones finding what they need and helping themselves. And we want to assess what the client already knows. Maybe they already know a little bit about what's going on, and we don't want to overstep and try to take over that conversation. That keeps them in that client-centered focus. So when we say elicit, provide illicit, here's how it's going to go. We're going to assess the client's current understanding. So we're going to say things like, what do you already know about, I don't know, nutrition, right? What information would be helpful in this area? Those are kind of some of those open-ended questions that we would start out with. So that's elicit. And when they tell you, you want to be able to reflect what they say. So you're still using your reflections and just making sure that they get their words back. Okay? When we think about provide, there's 2 different routes. Either they have the answer or they don't necessarily have the answer. If they do have the answer, the coach can offer some information around that. If they don't have the information, the coach may be able to answer or provide some resources. Either way, we can provide something in these cases. So when you're providing information, we're going to ask permission first. Remember when we talked about mindfulness, how we want to ask permission? Do you remember why we said that?
We're being respectful.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. Being respectful and also keeping it client-centered, right? We put the ball in their court and they tell us what they're comfortable with or not comfortable with. Kind of the same thing with providing information to somebody. Is it okay if I give you some more information about? May I offer some resources that may help you? These are the things you want to ask before providing information. Again, that's just putting the ball in their court, making sure that they are the center of the conversation. If we are providing any information at all, we're going to do it in small doses. I'm talking 20, 30 seconds top. You don't want to spend much time in a coaching session offering information to them. One, you may overwhelm them, especially if it's somebody that's new to coaching. But 2, again, thinking about that patient-centered conversation or client-centered. I use patient, client kind of interchangeably. It's whatever environment you may find yourself in. So, okay, so elicit, provide, and then we're going to end with elicit. We're going to end with a question. So once we give that information, now we can say things like, what are you taking away from that information? How might you use the information that I just gave you? What part of that was most helpful? So these are just some example questions that you can use as that ending elicit. So it's like a sandwich. Question, provide the information, question. Does that sound good to everybody so far? Not too hard. So there's the wrap up for you. That's a one slider for you to put it all on one slide. Elicit, what do you know about whatever? And you reflect their answer. Provide, may I share with you what I know? They say yes. Offer some information, again, only 20 to 30 seconds at most. And then follow up with a question. What are you taking away from that? How will this information be useful? Okay. Any questions about elicit, provide, elicit?
How do you know when to use this skill? At what point would you really want to use elicit, provide, elicit? At what stage do you realize, okay, let me just do something in this area?
Sure. Well, it could be used in just about any stage. It's not necessarily by stages, but you will find it useful if you find that your client is stuck in an idea, or they don't necessarily know what to do next. So they may be looking for something to do with nutrition, right? And they have no idea where to start. So instead of me saying, hey, how about we pull up myplate.org or whatever I want to give them resources to, instead of me just offering that up, that's a good time for me to try this EPE exercise. What do you know about nutrition? Not a lot. Do you mind if I share a resource? Absolutely. Tell me how do I get information? I give them that information about myplate.org. It's something that's free. It's out there. And then I ask them, is that something you think would be useful for you? Does that make sense?
All right. Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay, so this is where you get to go and practice it yourself. Yeah, we just throw you in the deep end again, I tell you. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to break out actually into groups of 2 instead of 3. And you're going to practice elicit, provide, elicit with your partner. And then you're going to switch. You'll have about 2 minutes each-ish. So it's not something that you do like this big long story with. You can create just a very simple scenario like I just did. And you're going to just practice the skill. Okay. Any questions about that before we put you into groups?
There will be one group of 3.
Okay, there will be one group of 3. Not good with the math. The math hurts. Imagine how my bank account works. Whew. Okay. Think we're ready.
Set them out for 7 minutes. So they'll automatically return. You think we're
Oh,
gonna have
nice.
think we're gonna have enough content for the hour and something, hour and 15?
I think so. I think we keep asking them questions and making them engage. That makes some of the time go a little bit. What is it, 6? It'll be 6:30-ish when they come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, because by the time I finish, we'll do brainstorming. They'll break out. We can even give them like a 5-minute potty break. They come back, do stage 2, stage 2, then their 15-minute break, and then a mindfulness, or mindfulness, then a 15-minute
Guess I
break.
can really turn mindfulness on as long or as short as we need.
Yeah. You could almost introduce them to IRS or something if we had to.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking I could always pull over the decisional balance tool that we had for next week and just, keep.
Oh, yeah, that could be a good one, actually.
So anyway it goes, we'll just play it by ear. See how much time we have. And I'll pull that up and have it waiting.
I could ask if one of the groups, when they come back and like while we're debriefing, we could if we feel like one person felt really comfortable with it and did well, if they would want to do it with their partner in front of the group, if you wanted to.
Yeah,
A good example.
if somebody would really do it.
Yeah, sure. I'm just trying to think. These are all the things that I used to fluff my class with if I was like going too fast sometimes. I would just like spur of the moment be like, who wants to do a class presentation?
I really don't know how, if we're really going too fast or not. I don't think we'll know until we're almost done.
Yeah. It's hard to gauge it at first.
What was I just looking for? Oh yeah, the other one for next week.
Decisional balance. Oh my gosh, shut that dog up. Can you hear the dogs barking?
A little bit, but not bad.
She's supposed to be taking care of them while I'm in here. She's doing a great job of not doing it. See, I still have some more slides after this still in the EPE, Donna. Yeah, sharing stories still part of it. Is it still sunny there?
Yeah, man. It's only 5:30.
Shit.
I will say I do love Mountain Time, man. I love being in Mountain Time.
Do you?
It's like the forgotten time, but it's like a sweet spot,
Oh. I'm just ready for it to stay light longer. I mean, it's getting better, but it's still like 5:15. It's already dark here.
Right.
But it looks like midnight outside right now. Oh. Your family like their chocolate covered strawberries?
They did. Poor Alyssa didn't get any. So she went to college. She didn't get them. That's what the hoe gets.
That's what she gets for going to college. What's she think?
She'll never go to college.
That's right. You stay home with your parents. You live with them forever.
Life.
For life. You live in their basement.
Feel like I would lose my mind before she did.
What do you say?
I would lose my mind before Alyssa would.
She probably likes having them all in the house, huh?
Uh-huh. Yeah, absolutely.
3 against 1.
That's right. All right, they got like 30 seconds.
Okay.
I'll switch them up into different groups for the next one.
Oh, snap. Throw them for a loop.
That's right. This is a joint holder, by the way.
I was about to ask, but I didn't know if they were going to pop on the screen as soon as I ask. Oh, I need to get some more candy from you. I need to send you some money.
That's right. Here they come. Or now, never mind. They're closing in 60 seconds. Said close now, and it closes in 60 seconds. Rude.
Oh yes. So like sometimes when I'm trying to get them back quicker, it says 60 seconds. Like, damn it, still added a minute on there. Welcome back.
When you come back from these breakout groups, it does funky with your like camera and microphone and stuff like that, like switching it back.
I think it's just yours. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Me and technology aren't the best of friends.
That was too fast.
That was too fast. Well, let me ask this. Did anybody not get to finish theirs?
I mean, we were almost there.
Almost there?
You were on the right trajectory.
Okay. So you got to at least practice a little bit. Okay. Okay, so question for you guys. How was that? What went well? What'd you like or dislike about it?
I need more resources.
You need
Yeah.
more resources. What would you like more resources on?
Everything.
Okay, no problem. Actually, one week we're gonna like load you guys down with some information. So I don't remember if we've talked about this already or not, but the board uses CDC guidelines for a lot of their health information. So at some point when we talk more about the exam, we'll point you in all kinds of different directions to get information. And as a coach, I don't think you have to worry about being a subject matter expert in every area. It's just good to have that general knowledge of what to do, where to send people, if you need to refer people, that kind of stuff. But we'll talk more about that later. Oh, show. Okay. I'm gonna screen back up for you. Okay, so as a reminder, whoa, you guys see that? Or is it just me? Okay, so as a reminder, if you're sharing your story, we talked about this just for a moment before I sent y'all out. If we're going to use the EPE model and we want to talk about ourselves in any way or something that's maybe useful for our client, we want to ask the person if they're interested in hearing about your experience first, or if they're interested in hearing what may have helped you or whatever the case is. We'll briefly share the story or the part of the story that we think is going to be helpful or relates to the client. Again, very brief, maybe 30 seconds, maybe a minute tops. I wouldn't go past that. And then ask the person if they're taking anything away from it or if that was helpful at all. So we may be in a coaching session that we feel we can relate to this person. We've been through this. Maybe we know something that's been helpful in the past for us. We can use Elicit, provide Elicit to do that if they're open to it. If they're not, move on. No harm, no foul. Okay. All right. So considerations when sharing your story. Always be mindful and be aware and considerate. Always listen for kind of tones, maybe even watch for body language, things like that. If they seem like they're getting uncomfortable, they probably are. Just want to be mindful about it. Share the purpose of the story. Sometimes we may jump into a story after asking them if they want to hear it. and they don't really understand why we're sharing, make sure it connects and it's relevant to what they're talking about. We need to be considerate and mindful of how open the client may be here to hearing the story. We mentioned that the length and the timing of your story, like I said, keep it short, simple and sweet, right? Don't get into your life history and talk about your traumas. Don't trigger people and get crazy, and don't cry, all that good stuff. You're there for them. Consider the impact of your story and what impact it may have had on them. So that's what that last elicit is. Once you've provided that story, you ask them, was that helpful information? Things like that to kind of check in with them. And then generally speaking, telling one story is not a highly utilized skill in coaching. This is one of those that you use very sparingly if needed. But it's definitely not something you would do very often. Okay. However, there may be times when it can be helpful. Yeah, okay. So that's it for elicit, provide, elicit. So we're going to jump into the next skill set, which is brainstorming. And I don't know if you guys know this actor or not, but I hear his voice every time I see his picture. Like I just instantly hear his voice. And if you happen to have watched the Super Bowl, there was a fantastic commercial of people talking like him. And I wish I could try, but I'd make a fool of myself tonight, so I'm just not going to. Anyway, moving through. Here we go, brainstorming. Any clues as to what brainstorming is? Any guesses? It's not tricky, I promise. I'm not gonna throw you under a bus.
Just coming up with a list of possible solutions
That's
without
exactly right.
boundaries.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Brainstorming is a very fun way to help somebody, again, if they get stuck or if they need options to choose from, right? This is a picture of my brother. No, I'm just kidding. My brother did do this, but this isn't a picture of him. But it does generate creativity and possibilities for people. Sometimes it makes our coaching conversation a little more fun and more exciting and gets the client a little more engaged sometimes. Okay. The impossible exists only until we find a way to make it possible. Okay, I get that. Okay, moving on. I don't know why I threw that in there. All right, so here's the setup for brainstorming. What ideas do you have about making this change? So this is kind of an opening question. We always start with asking them a question. Would you be willing to brainstorm some ideas? So if they feel stuck, they're not really sure where to go with their ideas or where to go with the information they need, whatever the case is, this is where it can be fun. And you could say something to the effect of, I have a fun idea. Would you be interested in doing some brainstorming with me? So always asking permission, asking the question. When you do this, you get to do it in pretty much any way you want. So you can set it up in a couple of ways. One, you can say things to the effect of, okay, would you like to brainstorm? I can throw out an idea. And then we can go back and forth for about a minute, thinking of any idea possible. Doesn't have to have any rules. It can be as crazy of a suggestion as possible. Have fun with it. And for 60 seconds, you guys just go back and forth putting ideas out there. Another way of brainstorming is you can say, hey, I'll start and we'll come up with, let's say, 5 different ideas. So you're putting kind of a limit on the brainstorming, right? You're not leaving it open-ended for them to sit there for an hour and still be coming up with things and throwing them into the brainstorming basket, right? So you're putting a little bit of a perimeter on it, whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you have time for in the coaching session. Okay, so we are going to give you a chance to practice this skill. Again, it's not a hard one. It's a fun one just to play around with. You're going to invite your partner to generate some ideas. Remember, you're just asking that initial question. Would you like to do some brainstorming with me on that subject? However you want to start the conversation. Explain what brainstorming is. It's just us coming up with some fun ideas to help you to decide on this. We're going to take turns. And the coach actually records the ideas just in case we need to go back to them in the future. Just make sure you jot them down as you guys are kind of going through them as the coach. And then just keep it light and fun. This doesn't have to be super serious. This can be something as simple as, hey, I really want to get up and start walking, but I have no idea how to even begin. So I start brainstorming with my coach and we say, I don't know, I put my shoes by the door. So I actually go put my shoes on before I leave, right? I don't know, I set my alarm. Like we come up with all these fun, different ideas, whatever makes it easy. No judgment, no evaluating. Don't assess the ideas yet, because what you're going to do once they come up with these ideas, then you get to follow up with, what do you guess? A question. Which of these do you think would be helpful for you? Or which one of these would be most impactful for you moving forward? Whatever question you want to use in that context. Okay. You guys ready to practice? Phenomenal. He gonna beat you up. Something smells like it's on fire in my house.
That ain't good. I broke him out
Maybe.
for 12 minutes this time.
Gave him some more time.
I feel like if they got to introduce brainstorming, then I got a group of 3.
Good call.
And they said last time they didn't have enough time, so I feel like this will be all right.
Ugh. I'm struggling tonight.
Me too. That's why I need to pay other people to teach it.
No, that's right. We paid our dues, man. How many classes have we taught probably total?
I have no idea at this point.
I've lost count now. Somehow I seem to be getting worse instead of better though over time. Like I'm skipping through stuff. I'm like,
I mean, I feel the same way though, a lot of times. I will say Carrie reached out to me and said that Brian, the participant Brian, is completely lost and doesn't know what he's doing. So I'll jump into their group, which is Jenny and him tonight. And then who'd you have last time?
I had
Jenny and them, didn't you? Yeah, that's right.
Jenny and Donna.
Maybe you take Carrie and them, and then Brian can take Margaret and Casey.
Casey,
How you feel?
Carrie, Nicole, Sade. Yeah, that's fine. Sade.
Sade.
Sade. I think of that Glad commercial. It's Glade.
Sade.
What's that smell in your house? It's a Glade.
It's a Sade.
Oh,
So I did talk to Steven and tell him a little bit about the conversation with Amy and Marlisa.
oh, was he excited or not so excited?
I don't know, I can't ever tell. You know, I was kind of hoping he'd be like, oh yeah, let's get it started. But then he was kind of like, oh, we got to hold up and, you know, check out what the MOU looks like and blah, 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 and this and that. I was like, Steven, man.
Just make it happen, dude. Quit thinking about it.
But you know, that's always Steven's problem.
Well, yeah, remember when we were like hoping he would just kind of jump in and take over the yoga therapy, and he just was hesitant,
and
never
hesitant.
really, and then it just never happened because he just kept hesitating.
That's right. Drove me freaking crazy.
I'm starting to learn though. I guess I took it for granted working with you that like once I caught on to what we could do and that you weren't afraid of us making mistakes, we just do it and keep pushing. I guess I just took it for granted that people felt comfortable doing that. And a lot of people still don't.
No, a lot of people hate that, don't they?
I guess so.
Stupid.
But that's honestly what kept me interested, not because we were doing the same old same and we were staying within the comfort level. It's like, what could we push next? That kept me getting up in the mornings and being excited about it.
That's right.
We're just wired weird, I guess.
That's right. Fuck them all is what I got to say.
Fuck 'em all. Oh, that's what. Oh, we're recording. Damn it.
Oh, God. Have to edit that out.
Yeah, we'll cut that part out.
That's funny right there. I should have been pausing that.
Good for you.
I know I almost said Carrie and I should not be that put together again. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna say that because then they won't put us together.
Hang on, let me make sure y'all aren't in the same triads night. No, you're good, okay?
We'll
We're all
be
right.
so professional in that. Like, but
So
just me and
profesh-
her alone, it was. We do. I've got notes. I got notes for you, boo.
We could get some inappropriate brainstorming if we don't watch it.
We're gonna make y'all do a demo for the class.
Jennifer, you look like you got shoulder pads on. And you are just going to the ball and you got these shoulder pads. It's the couch behind you. Like it's the same color and it is like building it out. You know what I mean? And it just looks like you are like the boss, you know, you're doing it. Some real 80s style.
One of my girlfriends, when she dances, all she does is use her shoulders. So it just made me think of her. She'd be like, these shoulders just can't stop. Anyway.
You look like little Cinderella shoulders over there. All right, so how did brainstorming go for everybody? Anything stand out to you?
Just fun, light-hearted, fun.
Lighthearted and
Chatty.
fun?
Yep, same.
Good question. Sorry.
What'd you say?
I thought someone else was about to talk. I was just gonna say, so I felt like in the brainstorming, I was like trying to come up with questions to help someone unpack their thoughts. Do you have like questions that you recommend to start opening up how to brainstorm with somebody? Because yeah, again, it just felt a little bit unnatural at first. And obviously if we're in a session, maybe it'll like feel a little bit different, but just jumping right in, I was like, oh, it'd be great to have a quick reference of unpack questions.
Yeah, I mean the biggest, I don't know, Charlie, you got one that would pop out quickly because I could go on for days if I start.
Well, I felt like asking, what do you mean by helping them unpackage their thought?
You're gonna, okay.
I mean, ultimately, that's not what we do, right? We're not trying to help them unpackage their thought. We're just brainstorming, right? And we're just throwing ideas out with them. So to kind of get the ball started, it is just as simple as saying, hey, we're going to brainstorm and we're going to popcorn ideas. And the ideas don't even have to match, right? It can be just random thoughts and different things. And ultimately, I'll say, to your point about how do I help them unpackage their thought, using brainstorming whenever you're really coaching people, this is an opportunity to not provide guidance, but to say, hey, how about we brainstorm some ideas because you're way off. You wouldn't say you're but ultimately,
way out
way
there.
off, then you can use this as a tool to be like, wait a minute, kind of circle this back in. And then, you ask them to throw out an idea, and then your first idea is your idea, that would hopefully be the idea that they choose. But it's just a way to kind of help guide the conversation without guiding the conversation whenever you kind of see them heading down the wrong direction. I don't know if that answered your question more, because I really wanted to know what you meant by kind of helping them form their idea. But I feel like, anyway, go ahead. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, it did. I mean, a little bit too. I was also just thinking through, like if someone's sharing their goal, and then they're feeling kind of stuck, if they need a little bit of support trying to even think about brainstorming, because I do feel like, in coaching, like natural resistance or just a little bit of creative thinking can need a little bit of initiation. But that just might be my own personal perspective. I don't know if others experience the same in their groups. But yeah, so I guess not trying to guide any of their brainstorming, but just helping them feel comfortable to brainstorm, maybe is the better way to ask that question.
That's really all about setting it up too, and just being able to. So I can give you a real life example. I was coaching a lady, and she loved being on the water and having the sun in her face, and she just felt more relaxed and comfortable, being at the beach or being on a boat. So she talked about how stressed out she was all the time. And I said, well, what do you think would help you at work? If you could, do whatever was possible, what would help you? And so it basically came down to, she's like, I have no idea. So we started brainstorming. Okay, let's set up brainstorming. We've got for 60 seconds, we're going to just throw ideas back and forth and popcorn them in and decide what's going to help you to de-stress. Right. And instantly she's like, well, move to the beach. And I'm like, bam, right. But they can say whatever they want to say at this point. They can be as creative as they want to. But when it came down to it, all she did was buy a salt lamp. And that seemed to help her. Right. So it just like bringing any kind of information in, and they don't have to necessarily think through it. They don't have to be serious about it all, but just having fun with it and just putting ideas out there instead of ending the conversation with, well, the beach seems to de-stress you. You're really stressed at work. Oh, well, you don't live at the beach. Too bad. Right. So that just was like a real life scenario of something as simple as her putting a salt lamp on her desk seemed to help.
Yeah. Well, the question I just pulled out of what you just said too is just what's going to help you reach your goal, I think.
There you go.
That's just like a good question.
Perfect opening question. It's really about just setting it up. All right. Any other questions about brainstorming before I hand it over to Charlie? All right.
Can everybody see my screen and hear me? We're good? Yep. Okay. All right, so now we're going to start with whole health coaching process stage 2. So last week we really focused a lot on mission, aspiration, and purpose, and really helping people come up with exactly what that mission, aspiration, and purpose is. This week we're focused more on developing, really fine-tuning the focus of area that they want to focus on. And we're going to focus on that mainly through, I'm going to stop sharing, through assessing this part of the PHI. So whenever y'all filled this part out, now we're going to narrow down, which one and which area they want to focus on. So whenever we look at this component of these components of self-care, we're going to help them narrow down which area they want to make a change in. So this is kind of where you can start finding your area of focus. So for instance, Margaret, yours may be more in professional development, whereas Nicole's, whenever you really start coaching folks, yours may be more in mental wellness, right? Whenever you really start getting into your patient populations. So now this is really where we start to focus on those areas. if those are the areas that the patient chooses. So this will be a little bit different. So whenever we come down through here, now I'll go back to the PowerPoint. Y'all see the PowerPoint or the PDF?
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, we just see you.
Did y'all even see the PDF that I was showing?
Nope.
No.
That was a wasted space, wasn't it? Okay, hold on.
I thought it was just loading. It flashed for a second. I didn't see anything, but I was like, there we go.
Can y'all see this now? Okay. So here is what we're assessing. So, last week, whenever y'all filled out the PHI, y'all filled this part out. You assessed where you are now versus where you want to be. So moving the body,
That's not it.
I don't
Right.
think that's what you're wanting to show
You're,
us.
you're showing us something else.
What are y'all seeing?
CBT
Yeah.
approaches.
Yeah, it's the wrong
Get your
one.
life together, Charlie.
What is going on? And how about now?
That's it.
Yeah.
Jesus. Okay. All right, here we go. So one more time. Y'all assessed this last week, right? So the moving the body. Well, let me come back up here. So really, you all did this last week. You filled out this entire page. You really assessed the components of self-care. So last week, whenever you broke out into your breakout sessions, you really talked about this and then helping people come up with their mission, aspiration, and purpose. This week, we're really going to be focused on this area, which is really breaking down the components of self-care. And whenever y'all filled this out, it was where am I now on a stage of 1 to 5, and whenever y'all filled all this out. So now we're going to be going over the back side of this page. And we're going to be doing so by looking at this script. Did y'all see it whenever it changed to stage 2? Okay. So whenever we changed it to stage 2, this will be the script that you will be going off of. So the opening, last week was stage 1. This week will be stage 2. And then the opening, we got it all written out for you for everything that you all need to kind of write it out. So I'll go back to the PowerPoint, but I just kind of wanted to connect these before we're going through there in case y'all have them in front of you, that this is what the patient would be filling out. And this is the script in which you would be providing as you're going down through it. Okay. So that's the difference between these two documents. So the client would have filled this out like you all did last week. Brian, I know you didn't get to fill this out last week. We'll give you a little bit of time before this next session for you to fill it out, or before y'all break out. And then we'll go from there. But I wanted y'all to kind of have a foundation of that before we kind of went into the PowerPoint. Now, do y'all see the PowerPoint again? Man, how'd it work this time, but not all the other times? All right. So now we're really going to be focused on conducting that whole health inventory assessment. And we're going to be really defining focus, assess, and get down to how important it is for them. And here, this is just the same thing that Haley showed earlier, is really starting to think about these qualities of a coach, skills, and strategies, and how all of these things are intertwined as we're moving forward. And every time we also break into another stage, don't forget that these, qualities, skills, and strategies are something that you need to maintain throughout the entire coaching process. So the components of proactive health and well-being. So really, whenever we gauge this, we're really wanting to find out and narrow down where everybody is wanting to focus on. So we want to reflect and assess the whole health inventory and where they are now, define focus, and identify the area. So really, whenever we open, you completed the rest of the PHI or you completed the back of the PHI, what was that experience like for you? And then that way we can go ahead and open it up. And then remember, whenever we open that up and whatever they say, we want to reflect it back to them, right? And if it was that it was eye-opening, then we want to say, wow, that must have been inspiring for you to see. Or, they may have been like, man, it was so overwhelming looking at everything in my life that I'm so overwhelmed right now. I don't even know where to start, right? And then you can say, wow, you're overwhelmed. So areas with so where we want to focus on is always strength-based. So whenever we look at that, what's an area that you gave yourself a higher number in? And then whenever they say that, again, using reflections, Sounds like that's important to you, or you spend a lot of time in those areas. And then what number did you give yourself? If they say a 9, oh, you know, what does that 9 really mean to you? And then continuously reflect that process back to them. And then we want to connect to strengths, right? What is helping you to be successful in moving the body, or whatever area that they chose, whatever self-component area that they chose, and then connect it back to mission and purpose, right? So if they say moving the body was really important to me, and that's what it is, you can say that's really important to you because staying fit is one of your values, right? And kind of connect it back to those values. And then what's another area that you gave yourself a higher number in? So we want to assess 2 areas that they did really well in, right? And then we want to go ahead and just repeat that entire process. And we want to do 2 areas because we want to show that they're really successful in 2 areas, right? That you can be like, oh, wow, whenever they're like, man, I can't do anything. Well, you're really successful in these 2 other areas, right? So you'll always be able to kind of go back to these areas throughout coaching whenever you're like, wow, whenever the client's, you know, having some of that self-defeating thoughts or whatever it is, you'll be able to kind of come back and be like, well, wait a minute, you're really great at moving the body, like you said before. So keep that in mind. Now, this is where we start to funnel it down to areas that they want to work on. So what is an area that you gave yourself a lower number in? And then this allows us to start opening up the conversation around, you know, what does that area really mean to you? You know, reflect that back to them, connect it to values. And then, you know, what does that number mean to you? And then we do the same thing as we did for strengths, right? Where would you like this area to be? You know, identify those possible numbers. This is also a great opportunity to start adding in a lot of those double-sided reflections and value conflicts, right? Because now they'll be telling you like, oh, you know, moving the body's really, it is important to me, but, right, you might hear that but statement instead. And then this will be an opportunity to be like, it's really important to you, and you're struggling to make the connection, or however the double-sided reflection would come out. And then you repeat that again. And the reason why we repeat it again is because that may not be the area that they want to work on, right? So now we've identified 2 areas in the components of self-care that we know our clients are struggling in, but that doesn't necessarily mean those are areas that they want to work on. And I think that's okay, right? Because this is a client-centered process. So even if, it would be so much easier if they worked on their mind before they worked on, their professional development, but that's not really up to us. If it's really professional development they want to work on, then that's what we're going to help them facilitate. So once we identify these 2 areas that are low, then we ask the question, out of these areas, are anything that we've mentioned, what are some areas that you're ready to begin making change in, right? So then now we can start having the change conversation. And hopefully they'll pick an area of focus, right? So let's say that their area of focus is moving the body, or, let's just say moving the body. Now we can start to identify exactly what type of goals we're going to start moving towards, right? Because now we have an idea of what that looks like. And next week we'll start breaking that down into goals. But right now it's more about identifying and nailing down exactly the focus area that they want to work on. And then we always ask how important this is to them, right? Because right now it's not about confidence, because they might not have confidence in the change, right? You'll hear us talk about a confidence scale later and an importance scale. And a lot of times the importance scale is more about whenever they're ready to start making change, right? If we really start thinking about those stages of change, folks are getting ready to start taking action. So we want them to start thinking that way. So how important is this to really start making change out of 0 to 10? And if they say that it is a 7, well, it doesn't say it on here. If they say it is a 7 or higher, you don't say anything, right? You maybe reflect to say, wow, that's really important to you, or that's really important to you. Sounds like this is where you want to be. If it is 7 or lower, you want to say, well, what makes that a 5 instead of a 7, or what would make that a 5 instead of a 7? Why is it not a 10? Could we do to make that a little bit higher? Because if it's not higher than a 7 and it's not that important to them, honestly, is this really something that they want to focus on right now? Because at the end of the day, if it's not that important to them, they're not going to focus on it. And it may be that we have to have a conversation more revolving around, you know, again, that value conflict, right? You keep saying that you want to make change here, but this isn't important to you. So what area of focus is important to you? Here it is, less than a 7, right? What would make it a blank and not a lower number, right? So just a lot of that motivational interviewing, trying to get them to start thinking about change and taking action. And then closing, how are you feeling about your area of focus? What are you taking away from a conversation? So every single time you have a coaching session, one of the things that you'll always ask is, what are you taking away from this conversation? So to kind of review what stage 2 is what was the experience like, right? Filling out the backside of that PHI. What is an area that you gave yourself a higher number in? Connect it to strengths and value. What is an area or 2 areas that you gave yourself a lower number in? And then rate yourself, and then choosing a focus, right? And then how important is that area of focus to you? Does anybody have any questions? I was going to share these documents again just to show them real fast. Hopefully it doesn't mess up this time. Can everybody see the PDFs? Yes. Okay. So again, whenever we're asking people and we're asking them about the whole health inventory, we're asking them about these components of self-care, which are on the back, right? Where I am now versus where I want to be. What did they give themselves higher numbers in here? What did they give themselves lower numbers in? Okay. And then if you are the coachee, you're following this script here. But remember, it's also more about, you completed the rest of the whole health inventory. Remember to provide reflections that, trying to remember what we called it, but basically you ask a question and then you give 2 reflections, right? So kind of keep to that ratio if you can. Ask, tell me more about that, right? Ask those types of questions as we're doing this. Try to start really honing in on a lot of those different skills. So do y'all have any questions about this process? Nobody has any questions. I think we now have Brian McSpadden on. Is he on? Can he hear us?
Yeah, it looks like he's on.
Hello.
Oh, there he is. Well, yeah, go ahead and
Yeah.
introduce yourself. I was gonna say, go ahead and introduce yourself if you don't mind. We were waiting for you to get on to do your introduction. So,
Oh, well, thank you.
yeah.
Well, as Minnie Pearl says, just proud to be here. Brian McSpadden. I am living in Waco, Texas. Worked with Charlie and Haley back in Tennessee Valley a couple of years ago. It seems like forever. I am a recreational therapist and a certified health and wellness coach. I'm also in the Tennessee Army National Guard, still doing that for I don't know how much longer, but maybe a year. We'll see. And that's pretty much it, I guess.
That's Brian. And there's Brian. No, that's good. Yeah, Brian. Yeah, he doesn't brag on himself enough, but he's definitely a health coach. He's also done the VA's national coaching program for more on the executive side of things as well. So just to kind of throw that out there, brag about him for a minute. So, okay. So we're going to give you all a break. Brian showed up just in time for the break. And now, but what I wanted to show everybody, to remind everybody what groups they're in. So Margaret and Casey will be in Triad 1, and Brian, you'll be coaching them, or mentoring them, sorry. I think I misspelled Margaret's name, didn't I? Just now noticed that. Oh. Anyway, and then Nicole, Sade, and Carrie, and then Jenny and Brian. And then, oh yeah, and then Haley will be with Triad 2, and then I'll be with Triad 3. Does anybody have any questions before we do this? We'll be back about 10 minutes till the end of class like we did last time. So then that way we can debrief. Me, Haley, and Brian will keep in touch. So if we do end early, we'll bring everybody back and we can go ahead and end. But any questions before we break out? All right. Well, actually, we won't break out. Go ahead and take a 15-minute break. Be back at 5:30, or I guess whatever time it is for you all, 6:30, and then we'll do our breakouts. Thanks, everybody.
7:30
Good.
my time.
I was about to say 7:30 my.
Yeah.
It's 8:30 Eastern time.
We have anybody Eastern time?
I think one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sade is, I don't know. She goes back and forth between.
It's 2:15 my time.
Yeah, there it is. I know.
PM.
PM. Okay, as long as it's not
Are you in
AM.
are you in the middle of the Pacific Ocean?
I'm in Lagos, Nigeria. I'm in Nigeria.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Hey, Brian. Hey, Charlie. How's
Hey.
it going?
How's it going, man?
There's
Yeah.
our daughter.
Nigeria. Wow. That's some dedication there. It's good to have a helper.
That's
Nice to
right.
see you guys.
Good to see you.
You, man. Yeah.
Brian, how's Texas treating you?
It's good. It's one day it's 70 something degrees and the next day it's 30. So,
Sounds like Indiana.
yeah, very similar. But we don't do well when it gets cold.
No. I'll let you guys back too. It was nice seeing you all.
Yeah, good to see you, bud.
Well, good seeing you, man.
Yeah.
Do you have the whole health coaching assessment? Did Haley?
Yeah, I got with Haley. She sent me your wellness effect version.
Yeah. I mean, it's all. You like that?
Protect the innocent, the names.
Yeah.
No, that's good.
Yeah, it's funny, but it's the same program, same stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean it works. It works.
It does.
All right. How's the Colorado?
It's good. We still got snow on the ground. Talking about coldness, not as not as hot as Texas, but we got snow on the ground, and it's probably about 50 degrees roughly. Actually, it's probably about.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we started. I think it was 40 degrees this morning when we started. Ended up in around 70.
that sounds much better.
It was nice, but I was in the office. Of course, the VA building that was built in the 30s, so it still has the radiator heating.
Right. So
And
you're cold all day.
you cannot adjust it,
Right.
so it's either off or on. So I'm sweating.
I bet.
Starts off fine.
Right.
And by the end of the day, I'm changing shirts. Yeah, fun times.
Fun times.
But I mean, this big, huge building, pretty much the music therapists and volunteer services are on the basement. I'm on the top floor. I got a recreation assistant that that has an office across the way. So it's it's nice.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, my office is bigger than that whole space that we had in Building 6.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, but I don't know what else to do with it. There's so for now, that's where I hang my hat.
For now.
All right. So 20 minutes.
Well,
And
I get back at
what-
30 or 7:30 your time.
Yeah. No, so you want 20 minutes
yeah,
on the
sorry. Yeah, 20 minutes, roughly 10 minutes of feedback. We're
Okay.
not so strict on time, so if they end early,
Okay.
hitting them up with that.
Right. It's a target, not a destination.
Well, this is, this is only like their third class. So, we're
Yeah. Yeah.
on
Yeah.
that.
Give them grace. It's
That's
a learning process.
absolutely. So,
Yeah. We had a full hour, like for my coaching sessions in that leader coaching program.
Mm.
Like the initial session is 90 minutes.
oh,
And
wow.
then all the following it's 60. So, but you can do a coaching session in 5 minutes.
Absolutely. Right.
But but if you're doing a check-in and get them moving and get them going, but if you really want to dig into the why, I mean they say the transformational part of it takes a little bit longer, I guess. I don't know. There's lots of research out there.
There's some research. Some of those smart folks out there that like to crunch numbers.
Well, yeah, I read it. I was like, that's cool. But yeah.
Understood it. There we go.
Yeah, but I had to have 54 hours to complete of coaching to complete the course. So, we were staying on point. All right, I'm gonna jump off for just a second.
Okay. I am too. All right.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, everybody. We're going to go ahead and break you all out. All right. All right. Jenny's still gone. Well, so how you feeling about this?
So I'm having a bit of a trouble trying to put it all together. I'm not the biggest conversationalist,
Yeah.
so it's kind of
Yeah.
hard getting into it.
No, I mean, I think that's all right. That's perfectly natural. I say just, for the most part, that's why we got the scripts to help people get along, through the coaching process. So right now, just know as you're going through this, it's going to feel unnatural. It's going to feel like you're stumbling across things.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah, just know that you're right where you're supposed to be. So don't worry about it.
uh,
How you feeling about it, Jennifer?
Yeah. Good. Good. Readjusting. If you all hear totally awesome hot milk in the background, please try not to pay attention.
Real life, right?
Right.
All right. Well, do y'all have any questions before we jump in? Brian, do you got everything as far as the script goes? Did you?
yeah, I just printed it out.
Okay. So Jennifer, well, you probably know he wasn't here last week, so y'all are, and then Donna's not here. So typically in this group, you'd have another person, Brian. Her name's Donna, and y'all just pretty much be coaching each other during this process. So I know you kind of missed even the whole setup. So typically, this is the way we practice coaching. Is right now we break people out like we do now. You would coach Jenny, and then Jenny would coach you for 20 minutes, and you just stick to the script, practice coaching those coaching skills. I'll be in the background, timing you and also, providing feedback, and then we'll get done. And then whenever, people are coaching, we're just trying to also, look at the things that they're doing well. So whenever Jenny's coaching you, I'll ask you, how that went for you. What'd you notice that went well? Anything that could have made it feel better, things like that. And then we just kind of do a round robin like that, and then we provide feedback to each other. Any questions about that process?
Nope.
And we're really looking for not role playing, right? We want, hopefully you can set goals, because next week we're going to set goals. Hopefully you can set goals around health and wellness things that you want to set goals around, right? And then once we're done with this process, so not next week, but the week after, we're going to assign everybody out into dyads, and you all are going to coach in between each class from here on out. So y'all kind of meet and start coaching each other so y'all can get that experience of coaching. And then you'll record sessions, and then you'll still meet with a mentor ongoing, things like that, to kind of fine tune those coaching skills. So just to kind of speed you up to kind of the whole process of what we're doing right now. It's okay to be sloppy and messy and nasty, and we'll just address it as we go, and then we'll just keep going. And the whole idea is to move you towards proficiency in the coaching.
Okay, cool.
All right. Well, knowing that, who wants to go first?
I can, but if you want to jump in first,
Whatever you want to do.
Oh, actually, let me grab my notebook real quick and just read.
Okay. And really, there is no pressure, man. Don't feel like there's any pressure whatsoever. There's none.
Okay.
I don't know if I told this story last time, but like we got evaluated at one point by national instructors, and like it was my turn to get evaluated, and here I am, like, and we're getting evaluated as faculty. And we used to do these demos in front of the class. We'd ask for a participant to come up and be like, hey, And you know, like, so I start the whole process. I'm like, hey, let's take a mindful moment. And then, you know, she volunteered to come up here. And then I said, so what brings you joy? She said, not a fucking thing. I'm like, here I am getting evaluated. Like, are you freaking kidding me right now? Anyway, so no pressure whatsoever. If I could pass that one, you know, you don't worry about it. You know, so no stress whatsoever. All right. So who's gonna go first?
You want to start it off?
Yeah.
Do you want to be the coach or the coachee first?
I'll be the coach here if you don't mind. It's
Okay, sounds good.
And then I'll turn it over to you, and I'll just give you a 5-minute warning if you get that far, but no pressure on time either. All right.
all right.
Hey Brian, how you doing today?
Doing good yourself.
Doing good. Do you want to take a moment to check in to do a mindfulness exercise? Or how do you feel about that today?
Sure.
All right, awesome. Now we're getting late in the evening, so just want to take a moment to ground your feet and wherever you are. Relax your shoulders. Just be present with your mind. If you have any thoughts coming up about what's been going on in your day, or things you need to do after you get out of class, or whatever it is, just try to let those thoughts go. Be present where you are. Notice anything in your body that you need to relax a bit more. We'll take a breath in at the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can release that. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Okay, so after taking a minute, thanks for doing that with me. I wanted to go back to our conversation from last time. So we were looking at the wellness inventory, and so just thinking through what areas that you would like to talk over, or just what that experience overall was like for you. Looking through those categories where you ranked yourself and thinking through that.
I'd say nutrition would be the one.
Awesome. So how did you rank yourself in that one? Did you rank yourself high in that one? Did you rank yourself lower in that one? What was
I'm in the middle.
in the middle?
Yeah.
And what did that number, giving it in the middle, like 3 or so, what did that mean for you?
Stuck in the middle where I would want to be better.
Yeah. Kind of knowing you want to focus in that area, but also filling those limits of the work and weekend, like we were saying earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why did you give that number to yourself for nutrition?
I just don't have a set plan or anything.
And so when you give it a 3, I mean, being in the middle, what do you feel like you do well around your nutrition?
I'd try and focus on the healthy side of it, the calories and all the trans fats and all that.
Okay.
But
Okay. So you're actually looking at what areas of nutrition you're taking in.
yeah.
Yeah. That's strength. I feel like not everybody looks at the different areas and is counting that. So yeah. Okay. And then Was there another area that you had ranked higher, or that you feel like you are already pretty strong in?
Moving the body.
Okay. And when you ranked yourself in that one, why did you rank that one higher?
Because I do get out a lot. I'm trying to always be outside as much as possible.
Okay, awesome. So for physical and movement for you, what does that look like in the day-to-day?
Walking the dog, taking her for a hike, rock climbing, ice climbing,
Awesome.
surfing.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of physical movement, different things. Awesome. And so, what does that mean for you to have that score for physical movement?
It's good. I would like to get better and include the gym in it, but be more aware of that.
Yeah. And it sounds like the outdoors part of it is what you focused on with the physical movement for most of what you listed earlier.
Yeah.
Being in a gym would be a little bit of a difference for sure. So what do you think helps keep you successful in the physical movement area?
I just have to be outside.
Yeah,
Can't be inside too long.
non-negotiable.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So what makes that so important for you? Or it sounds like that may just be a core value for you is being outside, valuing outdoor space. But what is that? What does make it so important in your life?
Just the beauty in it, I guess. Just being out in nature,
Yeah.
enjoying the earth, being grounded with it.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe some hints of the spiritual part of it there too, or
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Okay, so we'll go back and talk a little bit more about the nutrition side of it. So thinking about like appreciation for outdoors, the beauty of nature, my mind kind of goes to like fruits and trees and gardens and growing herbs and things like that. Do you ever like find yourself thinking or going towards places like that?
I actually did have a garden, but now it's the winter, so
Right. Okay. Yes. Okay. And then, so do you feel like you're stronger in nutrition depending on the season?
yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um, and then, for nutrition, I just want to make sure with the whole health assessment, was that the area that you gave yourself the lowest number, or was there what other areas?
No, recharge.
Recharge.
Yeah, sleep.
Yes. Okay. And for recharge and sleep, what do you like? How well do you prioritize that currently?
There's not enough time in the day.
I hear that. I hear that. So for kind of an active lifestyle, it sounds like you definitely have a lot of things you like to do, but also maybe a busy schedule from what you shared earlier. What does your current practice of rest and recharge look like?
Starting to get better with it, but I was averaging about 4 hours of sleep a night. But I'm starting to get better with that. Took a
Yeah.
nap today. It was nice.
Yeah. Okay. So 4 hours at night, maybe a nap here and there. When when you think about that, I know that there's recommended, how many hours a person should sleep, but we all have our natural rhythms too. So what does that look like for you? Like how many hours do you feel your best?
Probably 6 or 7.
So we're not doubling it up all the way up to 8, I gotta
No, I
wonder.
can't do that.
I gotta wondered on that. Okay. And then, so if you were able to sleep the 6 to 7 hours a night, what do you think that would feel like for you?
I would definitely feel rested,
Oh,
more aware.
yeah. Okay. So gaining some deeper awareness. So right now, with the about 4 hours, what does that feel like in the day to day for you?
A bit sluggish,
Mm-hmm.
but
Okay. All right. And so nutrition, rest and recharge, but then the strength being really good at physical movement and making sure to spend time outside. So a hint of that spiritual nature, groundedness in there. So thinking through those, was there another area that you wanted to think about setting some goals around, or do you feel like those are the key ones?
those are probably the key ones to get me to a healthier lifestyle.
Yeah,
Everything else will come along.
yeah, okay. All right. And so then of the areas that you did mention, which one do you feel like you're ready to make the most changes in? It sounds like there were a few that you are initiating already, but which if you had to pick your top one?
Nutrition.
Okay. As you're about to answer, I was like, you already told me that. Sorry about asking. Okay. And then on a scale from 1 to 10, thinking through like, how important that would be for you to maybe change within 2 weeks to a month. What would you rank that on a scale of 1 to 10? How much change?
7 or 8.
Yeah. All right. That's pretty high. Too. Okay. And then if you were able to make it like bring that number up of how much you focus on your nutrition, what do you think might be a barrier for you to be able to do that?
Say that again?
If you were trying to bring your overall number, the 1 through 5 scale, not the 1 through 10, but if you wanted to bring that number up, what do you? Well, now I lost what I was saying. Give me just 1 second. Sorry. Good thing we're practicing. Okay, I'm just gonna start over.
Yeah, you're fine.
Question.
Right.
Can you wait just a moment? I'll be right out. Can you wait just a moment?
No, there's actually dead bugs in the
Dead bugs in your lab? Okay. I'll
lab.
Of the lamp?
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
That's
Well,
right beside like the table.
okay. I'll check that out in a moment. Can you go out
Don't
there while
laugh.
I'm
It's a wheel.
Yeah. Okay, I'll check it out in a moment. The one I just set down? Okay.
No,
Shut
the
the
one
door.
that's not at the lab.
The lamp. Okay.
Not
I'll
the-
get it. I'll get it. Can you shut the door? Thanks. It's very important right now. Okay. So what I was saying was for nutrition, if you, so it's at a 3. So if you were bringing it up to like a 4 or a 5, what do you think that you would need to do that?
Probably some sort of meal plan.
Yeah. And do you think that would be something that would work for you if that was your focus area to use like a meal plan or prep?
Yeah, it would take up, if I prepared my stuff, I'd probably have a lot more time to do other things.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a large commitment to do meal planning and just focusing on nutrition in that day to day, trying to fit it in the work life balance too. Okay. So with that being the key focus area, what do you think would be what do you think would be the first step? You said making a meal plan already. So maybe the second step with that then, from something that you're doing different than right now.
Yeah, I mean, I would, yeah, just have to start with the meal plan and get it together.
Okay. Like any particular focus in a food area, maybe? Maybe thinking, because nutrition can feel so broad, I think. Do you want to incorporate like more fruits or vegetables, or is it like proteins or?
Higher calories.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Awesome. All right. You sounded confident when thinking about which particular one, so that was good to hear.
Yeah.
Right. And then what are you taking away from this conversation?
Stop being lazy. Focus
Well, you
on
said
getting
that,
a
not
meal
me.
plan. Yeah, focus on getting a meal plan. Really it.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot that goes into nutrition too, especially when your weekend looks a lot different than your day to day. So, being kind to
Yeah.
yourself in that aspect and compassionate there. But yeah, okay, awesome. Well, thanks for exploring this goal with me, and we'll close it up.
Thank you.
And thanks for listening to the bugs in my lamp.
Gotta go figure out what that was.
Right. I'm like, we did just move, so we'll see what that.
Well, Brian, how was that for you?
I think that went pretty well, very seamlessly. I'm hoping I could do the same, but I highly doubt it.
You got this. You got this. Just remember, you're right where you need to be. What was some things that you noticed that Jennifer did really well?
Just her transitioning into everything, the questions and not slipping up.
Yeah. So kind of flowing up a little bit.
Yeah, it was very flowing.
Yeah. Okay. Anything that you noticed that she could have done a little bit better? That would have made it better for you? Yeah, nobody
That
ever.
was pretty good.
I do. Nobody ever does.
No,
No, you're good. You're good. Well, Jennifer, how was that for you?
It was good. I think I want to put some pointers in there, maybe think about how I can talk more succinctly. That was the one I put as a goal earlier when we were looking at the PowerPoint slides. I add fluff when I ask questions, and I'm working on that. So
You don't
I
say
don't think it's fluff. I think it's important, but there's the fluff.
there's the fluff, right? There's the fluff. And,
The context, okay? It's important.
so what do you feel like you did really well?
I think helping break down like what does nutrition mean for Brian, and kind of oscillating between the area of focus versus strong and then back, to keep spirits going up, but also reflective of what you're already doing really awesome in life. And yeah.
Yeah, I would say so too. And then also, I feel like he kind of threw you for a loop at the beginning whenever he was like, I forget what you said. And then he was just like, it's going to be nutrition. He just gave you the whole, he just broke it all down. He's like, let's focus on nutrition. But you still, I mean, you did a great job because really we want to pull out what he's doing well in those areas and you going back to it. I thought it was good to not forget that because we want to definitely highlight the areas that they're doing really well in. And you were good and kept your composure and still like you didn't like just flat out be like, why did you just tell me nutrition? Like we're not gonna but you didn't, you just kind of kept on going and then it flowed really great and it didn't even look like anything was abnormal in that entire process. So
That's good. We had a little bit of intel from earlier too around nutrition a bit, but yeah.
Um, let's see, what else do you think you did really well?
So I mean, I was more thinking on the areas that I needed to think through and improve on. So I think I did a good job of trying to keep it light and like just, like, we're still getting to know one another, trying to build just easy rapport, I guess, at the moment,
Yeah.
and focus on the strengths and what can be done, and reflecting on the ideas and then reaffirming that about, the week versus weekend, reminding to, change takes time, be compassionate for yourself when you're trying to figure it out. And but I think the area I want to work on when I am coaching is the
Fluff.
making that focus area make sense in my brain. So I need to spend a little bit more time looking at the stage 2. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Because
So
when I tried to ask that question, it was not flowing.
yeah, I mean, ultimately, we're just trying to get them to identify the area of focus and asking them kind of like how you did with, what does nutrition mean to you and those types of things, kind of got it there. But is there anything else that you noticed that could have made the session a little bit better or anything?
Are you asking me or Brian?
Yeah. Yeah.
Me. I think maybe just pausing more would have been helpful, given some space. I think external things in the area here, but I think in a confined or separate coaching space, I would be just a little bit slower with the conversation and give some pauses and wait to see if there's anything else that he might want to unpack or add to his first thought.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say another thing that I felt like, and this is just moving towards proficiency, right? Of trying to be that proficient coach, is you were trying to get too much into the weeds, just focusing on the focus area, right? Because now we're focused on the focus area and you're trying to figure out what kind of nutrition, that's goal setting, like you were jumping ahead, and in reality, we just need him to focus on the focus area itself. The understanding is really his understanding of that focus area. And
Yeah.
if we're going to provide any type, that it could have been an opportunity, because I'm trying to remember what it said, but whenever you started talking about the garden and other things, right? Instead of being like, well, whenever I think of, being outside, well, now you just took that away from the client, right? Because now you just put thoughts into their head, and ultimately, that's not what we need to do as a coach. So, but that could have been an opportunity for provide illicit, right? Or ask, tell, ask.
Mom, can I do a game on the phone that's here? There's 3 games. So
yeah,
I want to do this one.
Okay.
When as I haven't done one.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, and I know that is an area that I'm trying to think about too. And Charlie knows this, but I'm a social worker by background, so I am trying to compete with some of those, I think, traditional or mindset in that area with. But anyway, when I'm doing that, trying to pause on finding places to build rapport in too. So yeah,
I mean, I
I
think
appreciate that feedback.
because later on you used humor, and I thought that was really great, right? And I forget what it was. Like, I feel like to build rapport, a lot of times we feel like we have to, I don't want to say talk about ourselves, but use those I statements. And a lot of times in social work, we are told that we need to use I statements. But anytime we feel like we hear ourselves saying, I hear you, I think we should, or any of that, that's not really made for coaching, right? Ultimately, we want people to come up with that. But really, that's just moving towards proficiency. I'm sure as you see other professional coaches, and even whenever I do my demo for next week, you all will probably see me mess up and do a bunch of different things. Like one thing that I do is always like, shake my head and be like, wow, yeah, that's great. Good job. But that's not really coaching either, right? We don't want to say good job. We don't want to do those types of things.
Yeah.
I watched this.
Yeah.
I'm trying to watch this show, but I can barely.
Can barely find it. Well, that's all I had. I'll wait for her to come back, but let's see, Brian, you got any questions before we jump in?
No, just gonna wing it.
Just wing it, man. I mean, that's what we're here for. And we have grace. If it veers off too much or anything, I'll jump in and save you, so don't worry. But ultimately, I'm going to let you go and just see how it goes. I mean, this is a learning process. So no pressure whatsoever. Besides passing the course. No, I'm just All right. I'll turn it over to you. Oh, Jen, I didn't have anything else. Overall, the coaching session was really, really great. You had great composure. You used great reflections. You are always in tune. I honestly didn't hear any fluff throughout the entire thing. I wasn't keeping track of it. I was keeping track of more of the, yeah, that's what you kept saying was, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I appreciate that feedback, and I like the challenge too of trying to change up the wearing it in the hat. So
it's difficult. All right, Brian, I'll turn it over to you, man. Just wing it. You got this. It'll be
right.
Stick to the script, and it'll be all right. All right, man. I'll turn it over to you.
All right. Hey, Jenny.
hey there.
How was your day?
Been good. Busy. Glad it's Thursday. Almost over for the week.
Good. Would you like to start off with a mindful moment? Just relax from your busy day?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
You just close your eyes, sit back, relax. Take a couple of deep breaths, whatever's comfortable for you. And whenever you're ready, just let me know.
Okay, awesome.
So last session, you filled out the whole wellness inventory. What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, it was good to just sit down and I think through the categories, list it out like they were. I feel like in my day to day, I think through them a little differently. So taking the time to just reflect on it, like that was good.
Yeah. And was there a particular place with a higher number that you enjoy?
Yeah, I think excuse me. I think in Spirit and Soul, I usually spend a good bit of time with that, and attention to mental wellness.
All right. What number did you give yourself?
I gave a 4 in mental wellness, and then I gave a 5 in Spirit and Soul.
Okay. What do those numbers mean for you? Feel like? How do they make you feel?
Well, those are 2 goals that I had for the past year, so it feels really good to feel like I'm stronger in those. I think that there's definitely room to still improve in ways, but I think seeing that growth feels good, and feeling the peace that does come from being stronger in those areas.
So progress always makes you feel good. Success.
Yeah.
Cool. What do you think helped you be successful in doing that?
I think just being more intentional about how I give my time, and thinking about how to fill my own cup. I think also as my son gets older, he's not needing as much of that one-on-one, always right there with you. He's definitely a quality time. I mean, aren't all kids, but you know, he definitely that quality time.
Yeah.
So I think as he is getting older, I'm also getting to, you know, restore parts of how I spend my time differently.
Good. It sounds good. And does this contribute to your ideal future in any type of way?
Yeah, yeah.
Good. So we're gonna start with an area where you had a lower number. Is there one there that you would like to bring up or work on?
Yeah, I think my area that I would, or I know my area I would like to focus on is movement of the body more. I think when I first got into my career, I did a lot of traveling, spending time with families, you know, getting out and doing things, going to parks more and things like that too in my free time. But I think now I spend less time where I work from my computer all the time, and I work remotely most of the time as well. And it's just a little bit different because you know, I'll sit there for, you know, hours, or I'll get hyper focused and not realize that I haven't even gotten up and moved myself out of that position for like 2 hours or something, which is great for productivity in other ways. But thinking through like how good is that for my body, and yeah. But I think part of movement is during the week as well. I think the weekends is a lot easier for me. But maybe not putting so many confines around what that means, like going to the gym for that would be helpful.
Okay. Is there another area you gave yourself a lower number?
Well, I did rate myself pretty low on the environment because I am moving, so you know that's a little bit out of my control. But when doing the inventory, so this weekend I'll have some free time, and I'm going to get everything fully unpacked and settled in.
A lot of help with your movement,
Yes.
packing everything up, moving boxes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, unpacking this time. So yeah. But
There
I
you
miss
go.
having my home like set up really. I try to go with like a calm, inviting space with plants around. So it's been like boxes everywhere, making my head spin.
Sure, there's a bunch of stress involved with that.
Yeah.
So is there one area that you would really like to focus on?
Yeah, I think movement of the body, like really incorporating that into um, my daily routine. I think so. In the morning, I'll usually start out with stretches. My son and I will do that together too when I wake him up. And so that's always good. But I think by the end of the day, I'm just running through all the different things. And then dinner, or, you know, a meeting might push up or push back, and I don't go to the gym or don't get to go for a walk or things like that. Um, so yeah, that's the area.
All right. On a scale from 1 to 10, how important would that be for you?
I would say, I would say a good 9 for that one.
It's very important.
Yeah, yeah. I had a pretty consistent routine for the last few months until this past month, and I can really feel the difference in my body, but also just energy wise overall.
All right. So how do you think, is there any steps you think you could take to go back to where you were a couple months ago?
Yeah, I'm gonna look at my schedule because things have kind of shifted with the I'm in a different time zone now, so some of my meetings I need to move around. So I have my mornings, that hour in my morning again. And then just pick 3 days a week where I go. And even if it's just 30, 45 minutes, while I get back in the routine. And then also thought about making like a chart where I track it just so I can see my consistency. Because, you know, tracking it in my mind, I know when I went, but seeing it on like a month view is motivating for me. So maybe those are two ways I was thinking.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea. So how do you feel about this area of focus and moving your body?
I feel pretty good about it. I'm for sure going to go work out tomorrow and this weekend. So I'm excited for that dedicated time, but hoping that I can stick to the routine.
Oh, good. Is there anything that you took away from this conversation? Anything
Yeah.
helpful?
It was good to think on the areas that I'm strong in. I think I can lean more towards the areas I need to focus on and improve in. And so it was good to think and reflect back on the growth that I have had since last year in the other areas. So, yeah. And then just being mindful about what movement means, that it's not just the gym. Yeah.
All right. I think that's the whole sheet there.
That's the whole seat.
The sheet there.
Oh shit. That's the whole seat. That's the whole seat. All right, whatever. All right. So Jennifer, how was that for you?
It was good. It was good. I liked the mindfulness check-in. It's good to just take a minute and set into that. And I think also talking about the positives and starting with those and going over those was really helpful. And then going into another category before going into the lower scoring ones. So I liked that a lot. And really easy flow conversation.
Easy flow. See, he nailed the easy flow. He was saying, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anything that you noticed that could have been just a little bit more or enhance the session just a little bit more for you?
I mean, no, not really. I think that it was really great, and being able to see an example of using pause and not adding too much or trying to lead into more depth in the conversation. I appreciated that.
So no fluff.
Yeah. I'm really judging my fluffs.
Never even noticed them before. All right. So Brian, how was that for you?
Oh, it wasn't bad. I just feel like I could be more, I guess, flowy because I am not very good with the whole conversation thing. So
Yeah, but I will say I felt like you flowed very well through the entire conversation.
Yeah.
okay,
Definitely.
so maybe it's
I
more in
didn't
my
feel
mind.
forced no, it felt very natural. Like nothing felt like you were trying to force yourself to say something or move the conversation along. So
Yeah, a lot of times we beat ourselves up or go into this thinking we're doing something wrong. It's almost like the practice of mindfulness, right? Whenever people are like, man, I'm always messing up mindfulness, but in reality, you're not messing up mindfulness as long as you're practicing mindfulness, right? Just like this, like you're not messing it up as long as you're flowing with it, right? And
Yeah.
and I do think you flowed with it. And even at the beginning, at first you kind of weren't using reflections, and then you kind of started to there towards, a little bit into it. And, at one point you were like, so now I can't even read my own handwriting, but basically the programs make you feel successful or something along those lines, right? And you really tried to reflect that back to her. Like that's really what we're trying to look for in between each one of those questions. And I feel like you started to nail it on throughout. And another one that I wrote down as a reflection was whenever she said, I think she said it was a 9 or a 10. I can't remember what she said whenever you asked her the importance scale. And you just said, so very important, right? That's all you got to say, right? That's all it was. And she was like, yeah, it's very important. And that usually opens them up and gets them to talk again. So I mean, you were doing everything you were supposed to be doing, man. You did it really great. I would say kind of moving towards proficiency. The parts that I would focus on is doing more reflections, right? So whenever you ask the questions, when I don't know if I said this right whenever I was presenting, but whenever you ask questions, you want to almost add 2 reflections every single time that you add one of those questions. So whenever you're like, um, filling out that wellness inventory, how was that like? And then whenever she says, whatever, you just reflect that back to her. She says, all right, cool. I mean, you could probably move on from there, but if she opens up and says a whole bunch of other stuff, then you could reflect that again and then maybe say, well, tell me a little bit more about this, and then kind of jump into the conversation.
Okay.
So I'd say moving towards proficiency, but even your train of thought throughout the process, because one question that you ask, what are some steps you could take to get back to where you were a few months ago? Like you're thinking already like a coach. I would say that's what we'll be talking about next time, just like I told Jenny, because you're kind of getting into that solving problem or, kind of goal setting piece, but your train of thought's already there. So no worries. I think it was a great session. I mean, I would have passed you for the session. I mean, that's how good of a session it was. So no worries. Trying to think of anything else to help move towards proficiency. I think just getting more comfortable with it is really it. I think ultimately, once you get more comfortable with it, you start adding in some of those reflections. I think ultimately you'll be dead on, man.
Okay.
So don't beat yourself up about it.
Pretty good at that.
Yeah. I think we all are, man. It's those
Yeah.
gremlins in our head, man. They tell us all the wrong things, right? And then make us go down these, snowball freaking things. And then in reality, you're just exactly where you're supposed to be. So you're good. All right. Well, we got honestly about 30 minutes before we got to be back in the main group. So, take 30-minute break, or if y'all have questions or comments or anything from me, let me know. But yeah, we could take a 30-minute break, or if y'all do have questions or comments or anything that I can help with, let me know.
Pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate the feedback and
Yeah, for sure.
I'll write this up. So Brian, also for you, we do write this feedback up and then send it to you so you have a record of it, just kind of moving towards proficiency. There is a pass fail thing on there. I always put pass right now at the beginning just because y'all are exactly where you need to be. So whenever y'all start sending in those recordings, pay more attention to that pass fail phase, because we'll have an assessment phase, but no worries. Everybody passes, what I mean? So it's really, we want to make sure that you're moving towards proficiency. So as long as you're moving towards proficiency, you'll always pass. But if you're not, you'll know, because we'll have a conversation about it. But no, everybody's still good, so no worries. All right. Well, then I'll shut up and I'll go back to the main room, and y'all can either go to the main room or y'all can hang out here in silence and be back in about 30 minutes.
I'll pop over there. Thank you.
the issue now is maintaining a balance of all of these different things going on at the same time. Are we still here, or we've gone back to the bigger room?
I don't know.
I think we've gone back to the bigger room. Oh, all right, Nico, I think we have to stop.
Thank you.
You don't have to stop. It was Haley was having technical difficulties, so I jumped in here. Apologize for that confusion.
Okay.
Okay, we were a bit distracted. Okay, Nicole, what is your takeaway from this conversation today? I think we need to wrap it up.
Yeah. Okay. I would say that my takeaway is that I definitely have some areas that I'm doing okay in, and there's a few areas that I should focus on.
Okay, and I know that going forward, if you commit to all of this activities and exercise in the mental wellness area, and you hold yourself accountable to them, you feel a lot better and you'll be able to achieve your goal that you've set for yourself in that area.
Yeah.
Okay, so I look forward to seeing you the next time. Do take care of yourself and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I apologize. Haley, are you still there? Can you talk? Okay. Well, I'll let you take it over then because I just heard that.
You're good. Thank you. I was having trouble. My whole computer froze on me for a hot minute, so I told him to come in if I had to log off.
Oh, well, we thought we were back in the big room.
Yeah. I was like, oh no, here we go.
Sorry. Well, I think he is about to pull us back in, so I don't want to mess that up. But anything quick that you want to give feedback? Actually, let me ask you, Sade, because you got to coach it. Anything stand out to you tonight We done.
I always got to wait on y'all's group.
It's because we're the best group, and that's why.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. No need to get defensive, you know. Gosh, what are you thinking?
They're the group that always has 3 instead of the 2, huh?
Well, Donna wasn't here tonight, so that left the other group to just 2 as well. All right. Well, how was that experience for everybody?
Well, I'm not on fire this week in the way that I was last week. It was a lot less, I was a lot less nervous this time than I was last time.
So Brian, since y'all weren't here last time, her face was completely red along with that glowing red light behind her. It was pretty hilarious. So that's what she was talking about. Just didn't want y'all to be left out of the loop.
She lives with you. And she glowing red all the time.
Yep, that's right.
Deservedly so. Give the woman a break.
Give the woman a break. That's right. That's right. All right. Well, how about somebody else? How's that for you all?
Better. I think I was more prepared.
Better, more prepared.
Yeah. And I was better on my reflections. They were more natural and felt more natural. And like they had a purpose instead of me just trying to do it.
So feeling a little bit better with the whole process overall and giving those
Yeah.
reflections. You know, as that's the whole point of kind of what we're trying to do here is getting you all more and more comfortable with doing this. I know a lot of other coaching programs don't really have you coaching until a while, but I think jumping right in and starting coaching really helps you all start to see the process and start to, you know, take ownership of the process. I guess you can say, make it your own and those types of things. So that's our whole philosophy behind having you all jump into it, even though I know it's anxiety provoking for sure. All right. Well, so next week, I'll go ahead and jump in since we're running out of time. So next week, we're going to be doing stage 3. Wait for a demo coming from me doing goal setting. So again, watch that video with goal setting and also watch, or whenever you watch the video, have that script with stage 3 in front of you. So as you watch it, you can kind of see how we're hitting those points and those types of things as well. So any question about that process, don't worry about the learning management system. We know that's kind of a shit show at this point. So we will just send you the materials that you need every week. Make it easier. If we can't send it for some reason, then we'll figure that part out. But that's the whole point of the learning management system, was to be able to send some of those large files. So if we can't for some reason, then we'll figure it out from there. But if we can send it just an email every week, we'll just do it by email. All right. Well, thanks everybody. Well, actually, that'll be good. Go ahead. We're done. See y'all next week. I was going to say, I thought Haley might have had to survey monkey out, but I don't know if she created one today or not. So no worries. There you go. All right. Well, then
I'll email it to
Bye,
you.
everyone. See you
Yep.
next week.
See you next.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
All right.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
All right.
You're still recording.
All right. Let me turn that off.